Welcome back to another Project Rebirth review. Today we're going to take a quick look at a Bend-Em figure. This is the Fleischer Studios version of Superman. So not exactly Superman when he first burst on the scene with the traditional, what's called first look Superman. I'll show a picture here. But nonetheless, a very classic looking Superman. And I really do like this model. Not a huge fan of these Bend-Em figures. They usually don't stay in positions they're bent very well. It really meant more just to kind of sit on a shelf. But I did get this one cheap, and I do like the look of this figure, so I picked it up. So let's take a look at it together. Here's a look at the front of the box. And here's a quick look at the back of the box with other figures in this series. And here's a close-up look at those figures. All right, let's get this Superman Bend-Em out of the box. All right, so here's the figure out of the box, and one glaring let-down feature is there's a blemish on his Superman shield. And at the left temple there is some stray red paint, which is kind of odd because the closest red paint would be there at the chest symbol, so not sure why it's up on the face area. And a bigger letdown area right now is the figure does not want to stand. So we'll have to work on that. All right, so at least temporarily I've gotten this figure to stand. So let's take a 360 look. Right, and with a figure like this, there isn't really articulation per se. There's bending the arm upwards at the shoulder. You can try to bend it, make a fist, but the thing is it has that tendency to want to pop back to the position it was originally. So you can get a slight bend. There we go. In these arms, the question is how long will it stay that way? That looks a little bit goofy there. Of course, no movement at the waist. You could, again, try to bend the figure down. It's going to resist you. And, same thing with the legs. So essentially, even though it's listed as a bendable figure, you're not going to get too much posing out of this, except for perhaps in the arms if you really work at it. Of course, that one wrist wants to bend awkwardly, which I think looks worse than it by its side. So really not much articulation to speak of. And for scale comparison, here's the Superman figure in the center, along with the Batman Missions figure on the left-hand side, which is typically a smaller figure anyway, but it towers over this Bend-Em figure, and then the Spin Master Superman on the far right. All right, so here's my final thoughts with regard to this Bend-Em Superman figure. Throw back to the Fleischer Studios animated series. It's a really very cool looking overall. Very mixed feelings on this because, these are cheap figures. I knew what I was getting when I bought this. I knew I wasn't going to get a figure that has good articulation and, knew it would be limited and really just something to sit on a shelf, that kind of thing. With regard to that, though, I really am disappointed about that blemish on the chest seal. That's very disappointing. And frustrating that I couldn't see that through the package, or I never would have picked this one up. And I bought it long enough ago that I think it's too late to return and probably wouldn't be worth the effort. As far as whether this is a good value or something you should pick up, I think that's going to depend largely on what you would pay for this figure. Right now, Amazon is charging $10 for this figure, which is outrageously overpriced. For $10, it would be an enthusiastic hell no, forget about it. I believe I bought this, and like I said, it's been a little while, but I think I got this for like $2.99 at Meijer, maybe $3.99, but less than a quarter pounder or a Big Mac sandwich at McDonald's. So if you put it in that context, small amount of money for something that you can have for a very long time to sit on a shelf, and if it brings back good memories of Superman, then maybe it's not a bad purchase. But for me, should you buy this, my answer is going to be hell no. It's going to fall in that category. But if you can get it cheap enough, hey, why not? Well, thank you for watching. A few more Superman videos to come. And then we'll get back to reviewing some Spin Master figures, as well as some McFarlane figures. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Project Rebirth review.